Interesting today, we have a whole new sector that has emerged as a major player in terms of the support, the funding, the resourcing for international development assistance, and that is the private sector. More and more, we're seeing both from the bilateral side and the multilateral side, companies are not just contributing cash. So for example, through their foundations, they're not just giving us money to feed the hungry poor in a particular country simply because they feel it's the right thing to do, or it's something that they believe is important because they are, let's say, working in that particular country, they have stores, or otherwise they have business interests there. That's always been the case, and so we have received money over the years, very small percentages overall based on the need, but we have received some. What's different today is that a number of companies, and I've listed a few of them here, they are not just giving the funding, and the funding is good. We always need more money, more resources for what we do. We never have enough. I mean, that's generally understood. What's different is that many of these organizations or these companies are now looking to bilateral institutions or NGOs, multilateral institutions where they feel they can align their visions. So, for example, Yum! Brands is the largest restaurant company in the world. And they approached us, the World Food Program, a few years ago and said, look, you are the largest food aid agency in the world, the largest humanitarian agency. We're the largest food restaurant company in the world. We want to do more, and what you do speaks to us. The vision that you have, we feel is one that we are also about as well. We would like to align ourselves more with what you do. And of course, then we would say, well, cash is good, give us a check, that's fine. But it went beyond that. It was more, what can we do to further your agenda? How can we help to advocate for those who you assist? How can we bring the resources that we have to bear to assist you? And many of these companies then have helped us with not just the cash part. That almost becomes, the cash contributions becomes almost a side product, very important one, but not the main reason for the collaboration. We will receive staff who will come, employees who will come and work with us and work on various development programs or relief operations during their break, during their vacation time, funded by the company. We will receive in-kind assistance from some companies, Vodafone, Ericsson, for example, communications systems, engineers who will come and help us set up communications systems that we have and we need at the time of major humanitarian crises where we don't have the time. It's not just resources. We don't have the time to actually set all that up. We can call and they will come in and set up the entire system for us because of a pre-existing agreement that we've had with them. This is extraordinary. These are levels of support that are priceless to us at times of immediate need and emergencies, and help us tremendously to increase our response time. So moving on to the role of national groups now and organizations in developing countries. What I explained earlier about the distinction with different organizations in the first world is very much the same in many developing countries. Maybe not quite as involved and complicated, but you have similar issues always. Government agencies, ministries who we typically will be working with in many of the sectors that we support would be health, education, and agriculture. We'll also find in typically all countries in developing countries in the third world, these will be the three ministries that will be the least well funded. So capacity support, both from the bilaterals and from the multilaterals, is very, very critical. Remember, we're always trying to work ourselves out of a job. The idea is that we are there to support, especially I'm talking on the development side now of the development equation, where we need to assist governments so that they can undertake these programs very much on their own with limited support from outside. And to do that up front, we'll oftentimes need to be focused on how to build capacity that's lasting and sustainable with these governments. Local NGOs, again, like in the first world, you have many organizations that are represented in the third world. Many of the organizations that I mentioned before, CARE and World Vision, they will have their own chapters or their own branches or groups, if you will, offices in these third world countries. And they will benefit from having international funding oftentimes, but there'll be local staff running the programs. That's very important. But then you have many NGOs who are only operational in that particular country, like the way Grameen Bank started in Bangladesh, for example. It's now international, but it started off only in Bangladesh. And capacity support from international NGOs, the bilaterals and multilaterals, is very, very important for them to be able to develop the support that they are trying to provide in these communities. And it's in our interest, because this is another way that we can sustain our programs and our support in these countries. So operations in the third world, complementarity of mandates is always a key priority for us. Us again in the royal we that I'm talking about, the bilateral, multilateral, NGO, government, we're all looking at, based on what we are in the country to do, what our mandate is, how can we work together, raise awareness on behalf of those who are there to assist. And in many cases, in the case of hunger, it will be local hunger advocacy, raising awareness in a country about their own needs that could be very, very poorly understood, which is typically the case in many third world countries. Operational NGOs then work with international agencies, the NGOs, all of us involved in nutrition programs, in HIV, AIDS awareness, in supporting healthcare programs, anything that we can do to raise awareness about the importance of supporting these various sectors. That is what we will very much give a priority to as we work together in the various sectors in these countries.